What's up, lads, and welcome back to the Couch Pundits podcast. Um, so this week we're gonna just talk a little bit about last week and what happened in the Premier League. The match between Liverpool and Chelsea coming up on the weekend, and then just the hectic last 24 hours of news that we've received. So we'll go straight into it. Last week, so obviously Arsenal played Chelsea and were absolutely dominated for 90 minutes. Like, Chelsea didn't even look like they came out of second gear. But do you think that, as a Chelsea fan, that Chelsea are or were that good, or were Arsenal just that bad?
I don't even know. It's probably a mix of both, to be honest. I'd say like Chelsea were actually so dominant, to be honest. Like, to be fair, Arsenal were actually on top for the first 15 minutes, but Chelsea scored at like the worst possible time for Arsenal because you just knew like with the way things were at the club at the time. I know they've won against West Brom since, but it's just so toxic at the club. Like, you just knew if a goal went in and they went 1-0 down, you just knew that the place was going to absolutely collapse. And the goal just came at the perfect time. It was such an easy goal as well. Like, I don't know whether it was a tactical thing or Tierney, but like both goals came through Reece James. Like the assist from him, he had so much space for Lukaku. He was so narrow, like he should have been further wide. And then the second goal was literally the exact same. Like, but except he scored this time rather than passing it across. It was just so easy. Like, I think like Lukaku whenever he got the ball in the feet, like Arsenal were just terrified because they just knew full well that something was going to happen from it. Someone was going to make a run off him. Like, I don't know why Mari kept trying to go in on him and actually beat him physically. It looked like it was like an ego thing or something. Like, oh, I don't want to like be showing up that I can't take him on. But like, you just have to accept it sometimes. And like, Chelsea literally got 2 goals out of that. So probably Arsenal just being like inexperienced, a bit stupid. But then Chelsea were actually so good as well. They didn't even get out of second gear, to be honest. Like, they never looked like they actually like it looked like none of them were even breaking a sweat, to be honest. But yeah, it was a good result for Chelsea. But just like, it wasn't that big of a deal for Arsenal. Like, you lost to such a better team. I don't know why it's such a bad reaction, but yeah, basically.
Yeah, I think you summed it up fairly well there. Like, Lukaku looked like he was like it was like a person going up against like their younger cousin or something like that, where you just like
Yeah.
put your body in the way, hold the ball as far away as possible, and let them
Yeah,
try and kick at you.
exactly.
Like, it just was a complete mismatch. And I don't know whether
Yeah, it's like
that's,
your 18-year-old self playing against like your 4-year-old cousin at a communion or something,
yeah, you
and
just
you're
put
just absolutely
half the
dominating
balloon
them.
on the end of your foot and you're just happy enough with it. But I don't know if it was like Arteta, like on his decision on that. I don't know, obviously, but they just played to Lukaku's strengths completely. Like there's literally a video like 4 years ago of him doing that to Jamie Carragher. Like,
Yeah, I know.
literally
I remember
walks him
watching that at the
through.
time.
This is what I'm gonna do, and he still and he does it, and then Murray just
Yeah,
fell right into the trap. Like,
and Lukaku said in that video as well. I remember watching that years ago, and Lukaku said there isn't a centre half in the world who can stop me when I roll him like this. And he literally, like, even Carragher in the video, even though he told him what he was gonna do. I know like Carragher
yeah,
was like 40, but he just like he literally is unstoppable. Even like we were talking about this earlier, like even Van Dijk, like even where like can Van Dijk even stop him? Like, he's an absolute machine. Like,
I
size
th-
of the two of
I
them.
don't think
Like,
I genuinely I think Van Dijk could stop him, and the reason why I think he honestly could stop him is because I don't think he'd even start the battle like that Murray
that's what I was
does.
about to say.
I
Yeah,
don't think
Van
he
Dijk
put
wouldn't be,
himself in the shoes. Like,
regardless of who's stronger. Van Dijk wouldn't be stupid enough to get tight to Lukaku anyway. He'd probably give him a bit of space because he just thinks ahead, whereas Murray's just literally doing exactly what he wants. But yeah, that's probably a
yeah,
decent transition into talking about the match for this weekend.
yeah, well, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it will definitely put a comparison on how good or how bad either team is. Like, it gets you get an early sight into where each team stands, because obviously both of them are 2-0 in the league so far, but like neither of them have really played against like like capable opposition, I guess you could say. Um, but it'll show like are Liverpool as underrated as I think they have been in the past few weeks, just because of their what they're doing in the transfer market. And are Chelsea really going to be that good and compete as much as I think they will, but everyone else also thinks they will as well? But it could be a reality check. you never know, because obviously in the reverse fixture last year, the first one that played around the same time, it was like the third or fourth match of the season. Liverpool won 2-0 and fairly comfortably, but obviously like new manager and all. And then later on in the year, it was 1-0 to Chelsea, but Liverpool had that was at like their proper weak point of like having no
Yeah.
team. So it is a completely fresh fixture. Like that's why I think I'm looking forward to it so much, because you can't really compare last year's games to this year, because so many like variables have changed. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's the thing with the transfer market, like because you haven't obviously you had the Euros, but like we're only really getting back into club football now, like basically 3 months after it finished. You kind of do forget like what teams actually play like, and it's almost like you just judge a team based on who they signed. So like even though United didn't have a good end to the season, because they signed Varane and Sancho now, they're automatically like title contenders. Same with, like, and then like for instance Liverpool, they actually had such a strong last 2 or 3 months of the season. Like they ended up finishing third somehow. But then just because they haven't signed anyone, it's like, oh, like it's doom and gloom kind of. When in reality, like it should be Liverpool. Like I definitely think Liverpool have a stronger shot at the title this season than United. Um, like I think Liverpool are still such a good team, and like I know it's just like a cliche, but like those players coming back now, they are like new signings, and Liverpool have tied down like a lot of their big players like Van Dijk, Robertson, Trent, Allison, to new contracts. So that's a big boost for them as well to know that they'll be there for the next 3, 4, 5 years. I think Liverpool looked so good in the first two games. Like I know we were saying there that it wasn't against like unbelievable teams or anything, but still like, and I know Chelsea played Palace and Arsenal. Like they're not like teams that should be beating Chelsea really, but I definitely think it'll be an interesting game and it'll be a good gauge. I know it's only 3 games in, but it'll be a good gauge as to where both sides are at. I could see it probably being a bit cagey, to be honest. Like, I don't think it's going to be like a 3-all or 4-all game or something. I'd say both sides want to keep it cautious enough, considering you just don't want to be like dropping points to a title rival at that stage of the season. But probably should be a good game. It's probably the first, like, well, it definitely is the first clash between any of those sides that you'd expect to make up the top four that finished top four last year. So should be good. And I think everyone's looking forward to seeing Lukaku and Van Dijk. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I think Chelsea, obviously they're champions of Europe and they've signed Lukaku now, who's like top 5 or 6 strikers in the world. So like you're talking about a serious player added to the books. Then Liverpool, obviously they haven't really strengthened their first 11, but you never know what's to come. Like I wouldn't be surprised in the next week if we see a 50 million pound player come in. But yeah, no, I think I'm looking forward to the game as well, and I'm confident enough as a Chelsea fan. But yeah, I'm still wary. Like I think Liverpool are so underrated at the moment, and people are really writing them off for no reason.
Yeah, I think I'm obviously confident as a Liverpool fan as well, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's like a 1-all or 2-all or something like
Yeah,
that, like something like mad cagey. I can actually, I think it's going to be quite a lot. Like, the year where, like, I don't know, it probably wasn't fucking Premier League goal of the year, but where, like, Salah takes the ball down, cuts inside, and puts it in top
yeah,
corner. Remember how cage of a match that is? Like I
yeah,
think
yeah,
Liverpool scored like 10 minutes before that or something like that to make it 1-0.
that
And
was
then,
like the 70th minute. Yeah,
yeah, and then that's when that happened. And that was like such a back and forth match, but like nothing was really happening, like nothing was materializing. It was just constantly back and forth until that happened. Well, obviously Liverpool scored just beforehand, and then when
yeah. And that was even at Chelsea when
between
they
the
were actually,
tides.
that was in their kind of like weak kind of, they weren't really at their best at that time. And like
Yeah,
I don't know, I feel like Chelsea and Liverpool, like regardless of, there's been times where Chelsea are winning leagues and Liverpool are like seventh or eighth, and there's been times
yeah,
where Chelsea are kind of fifth or sixth and Liverpool are winning the league. And like the games are never,
yeah.
one team never gets hammered, like no matter
Mm,
how good or bad either team are. This is the first time in a while they're probably equal,
yeah.
because obviously like the mid like 2010s
Mm,
Chelsea were much better, and then Liverpool, like around the last 3 or 4 years, have been well better than Chelsea. And now
yeah.
it's kind of they've gone to like an even playing field with Chelsea's investment. um so yeah, no, I'm actually really excited. It's probably the first time, as I said there, that we're going to see like a game beforehand we wouldn't expect. There's no like outright person you'd expect to, or team you'd expect to win.
I remember Carragher said once that that like Carragher actually had like a positive record against Mourinho's Chelsea as a player. And he said, but still, whenever he's in like airports or pubs or restaurants, everyone always brings up that Drogba goal. And he's like, lads, that was one moment. I had like years of playing against it. But it is like that. And that was a stage where like Liverpool weren't great and Chelsea were dominating. But, you know, it was just always tight matches. You know, it's
Yeah,
always
it's just been
a
a
big
thing.
match.
Like it's like one of those rivalries. I know it's not like a Liverpool United rivalry or whatever, but it is like one of those big rivalries because they've like both teams are obviously like the last 20 years have been going for like they've like sure Chelsea and Liverpool are the most successful teams in Europe in the last like what 20 years.
Yeah.
Um, both had two like Champions League, so it is it should be a good game anyway.
Yeah. Just we brought up United there when you said that you thought that Liverpool were closer to competing for the title than United. Do you think that United's result against Southampton really like I know Varane hasn't played and Sancho was coming on off the bench, but do you think it's kind of showed United's true colours in this title race, that type of early point loss in a probably a title race where you're gonna need to get 90 odd points to compete like?
Yeah, I think like I wouldn't like obviously it's the like, you're only second game into a season. I don't want to like be jumping the gun too much, like negatively or positively. Like I'm not looking at Chelsea after two games saying, "Oh, we're going to win the league." I'm not looking at City or United who have had one
Yeah,
bad
because
result each.
obviously, yeah, City have also lost, and
Yeah,
they're the ones that everyone's going to be competing against. But
yeah,
I think a loss to Spurs in the fashion that it was, that like Spurs just had like an unbelievable game,
it can
rather
happen as
than
well. Like,
a draw to Southampton, where Southampton probably should have won. They had such a good chance with Armstrong.
yeah, yeah, like yeah, that's true. I'd say like I know a lot of people are very confident about United. I'm not just like hating on United, but I definitely do think out of the four teams you'd be expecting City, United, Chelsea, Liverpool, like United are not looking. They're probably looking the least likely right now, just based on the fact that like I know it's just like the boring conversation that people keep coming back to, but the midfield is just so weak, like in the defensive way. Like saw McTominay earlier had a surgery. I was like, oh my god, like I didn't even know that he was injured, and now he's obviously going to be out for I don't know how long, but like it's at least probably 2 months, I'd say.
Yeah,
Then yeah, and you have like Fred and like you can't have Fred and Matic start and expect to win a league. Like that's shocking. Like even Fred and McTominay is bad enough. Matic is just useless. Um, I don't know. I think United like I know Saul Niguez from Atletico Madrid is on the market right now. And like Chelsea have put in Chelsea look like to be the front runners there. With that one. I don't really know why United aren't going in harder for him. Like it
yeah,
just makes no sense to me as to why they're not. Like I think Chelsea probably will end up getting them. Like by what I've seen anyway. Like Chelsea are going in with a loan for the year and then an option to buy at the end of it. They've put a bid in officially, but United haven't put in anything. I don't know. I think United should be definitely going in hard for him. Like he'd be nothing more than a squad option for Chelsea, whereas he'd be playing 30, 35 games for United in the league. So I think United have to be going for him.
yeah. I genuinely think because obviously Liverpool were the first ones to kind of be interested in him, and then Barcelona. And I remember when Liverpool were interested, and like when Wijnaldum just left, and I was like, he is a good player. Like as you said, like even with Liverpool, I was like, I don't really see him being needed. Like if it's so like I'm
Yeah,
thinking like if it in as a fan, I was like, if we were to sign someone in midfield, like he wouldn't even I wouldn't even be thinking about him. Like there'd be like 10 other people in front of him.
yeah,
But yeah, no, I understand. I don't understand why United aren't going in heavier because, as you named their midfield, obviously they have like Pogba and Fernandez and stuff like that as well, but they're all attacking options. For defensive options, they really are so weak. Like,
yeah. Like people keep saying, "Oh, United's midfield isn't that bad." But like, oh, it's Bruno, Pogba, and Fred. Like that, like two out of those three players are great players. Like that is like a FIFA midfield. Like no one's actually gonna like. Ollie never has played like two eights or anything. He always plays two sixes, like Fred and McTominay.
yeah,
I think like even I've seen Camavinga being talked about. Like I don't know why. Like fair enough, you're getting Camavinga as like an extra signing, but you're not telling me you're getting an 18-year-old to come in and be like the one position where you probably need more experience than anyone in the pitch to play. as
Yeah.
a number 6. Like, you're not gonna have an number 8, sorry, an 18-year-old come in playing as a number 6 and expect to like win a league. Like, as we pointed this out before, but like if you look at the other teams, you've got Kante, Fabinho, and either Fernandinho or Rodri. Like, they are world class players in those positions. Like, that is just such a clear differentiator between those four teams. But yeah, I don't know. I think United definitely need another midfielder, or they've no chance of winning the league. I generally think they've no chance unless they sign a midfielder, or unless, like, I don't know, Fred or like McTominay just like starts playing unbelievable or something. But I doubt it. So yeah, I don't really see United winning the league. I'm not just saying that off the back of the Southampton performance. Obviously, they weren't great, but they are going to score a lot of goals. Varane is going to come in and make a big difference, and so is Sancho. But yeah, I can't see them win the league when you compare. As long as Liverpool, the thing that I'm worried about Liverpool is that if they keep their players fit, because they don't have like a great squad really. But I definitely think the fact that they sold Shaqiri, they're definitely going to bring someone in. I know there hasn't been much rumors, but I think they will.
I genuinely think, I know you probably didn't watch the Liverpool Burnley match. I actually didn't watch it. I had to watch it on like a replay. But I genuinely think that in Klopp's head that Harvey Elliott is the 1-for-1 replacement for Shaqiri, and like I genuinely think that he
Yeah.
seems to have quite a lot of confidence in him to do that role, which is a weird. Like, I think Shaqiri wasn't happy with having like 6 starts a season. You know.
No, I don't blame him. He's like 28 or 29.
Yeah, where with Elliot, if he had like 6 starts in a season and then maybe like 9 or 10 off the bench, I'm pretty sure he'd be fairly chuffed with it. Like, that's a
Yeah.
good amount of game time, you know. So I think when you put that into perspective, I think for that role, for the Shaqiri role, you know, to be the first fella off the bench when you need like a bit of creativity on the pitch, I think Elliot can do the role. But anyways, um, we'll get on to the absolute mad 24 hours that's happened in football. It just feels like this, especially this transfer window, like it's all just been like, you think it's just all gone smooth, and then there's just like a massive nuke bomb that drops off in the middle of it, like, and blows it
Yeah,
completely wide
I
open.
think I think most people, like, I think I speak for most people saying that going into this window, you just thought it was going to be fairly boring, to be honest. Off the back of international tournaments, you never really get crazy
Yeah,
windows, and then as well as that, obviously a lot of clubs, like the big clubs who traditionally be making the crazy signs, like Barca, Madrid, and Juventus, are just absolutely destroyed, like, financially. So I was like, obviously, like, you did expect one or two big signs in the Premier League, but I probably didn't expect Grealish. I definitely didn't expect Lukaku, but
yeah.
then I think the ones were kind of alluding to mainly as Ronaldo to City and Mbappe to Madrid, which basically both look like
And
done deals now at this stage.
the first nuke bomb to just get dropped on the transfer market was obviously Messi to PSG. Like, that's what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying.
how
Like,
did I even forget that?
that's what I'm saying.
Just
Like, it,
shows there's so many moves. Like, I would never have thought that. Like
it
the day
feels,
before that, I was like, that
yeah,
would never happen.
it feels like everything just has been so boring, and then for like 48-hour periods, it just goes mental, and then it goes back to being so boring. And then obviously the last 24 hours we've had that. We've had Kane say that he's staying at Spurs. All of a sudden, Mbappe is going to Madrid. They've had 2 bids. First one was, I think, like 130, and that was turned down. I think the next one's 170 with an option for 10.
No, I think it was in if we're just talking about euros, which is obviously what they're dealing with. It was like
Yeah.
160 million euros the first one, and this one's 170 million euros plus 10 million euros in add-ons. And I
Okay.
think, like, I saw literally just there before we come on, that Marca, who are a fairly reputable like Spanish newspaper, they've basically reported that the deal is imminent. It's going to happen. The deal will be completed in the next hours and probably announced in the next, I don't know, day or two or whatever.
Yeah.
Which isn't surprising considering PSG are they probably need, as much as they have a lot of friends at UEFA after not joining the Super League, I'm sure they need to be showing in at least one way that they're balancing their books after signing Messi. And I'm sure they'll probably, maybe not this summer, but like, it's not like they'll be too far away from their next big sign spree. So yeah, I think Mbappe was always going to leave. And you can't turn down 180 million euros for a player who's got a contract out. He's out of contract next summer. Like, it would be crazy.
Yeah. Even the fact that they turned the first one down, whether it could have been £130, or
It was
£140.
134 million pounds, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
170.
Yeah.
It's 116 euros. Yeah.
That's the problem when you like follow too many Instagram page. It's one of them stuff
Yeah.
announced it on certain euros. But yeah, cheers for clearing that up. Yeah, even then when I saw it was turned down, I was like, you know, he leaves for free if you hold on to him.
Yeah.
Like he's gone. But maybe they were just playing like hardball, knowing they'd rebid.
They knew Madrid have been so desperate for ages. They probably, even if they rejected this 181, they probably would have come in with 200 again. Like Madrid are so desperate. Like
Yeah,
they've literally sold, like they've sold Ramos, Varane. Like you can go on and on. They've sold loads of players. They've made a bit of a mess of the club over the last few years, and they're just. It's like they just think if we get Mbappe in the door, that everything will be back to normal again. Like,
yeah,
it's just it is crazy, but they've always. I think everyone's known, even since Mbappe was 17, breaking on the scene. Even when he went to PSG over Madrid, you knew full well that in like 4 or 5 years, when he's kind of in his early 20s, he's gonna go to Madrid. It
yeah.
was only a matter of time.
Saw a thing today, like a quote from him or something like that. That his mom wanted him to go to school. Now I don't know what school Mbappe went to when he was playing for PSG, like after signing for 160
Yeah.
million or something like that. You
Yeah,
know?
I think he was offered at Madrid. He turned down Madrid when he was 14 because his parents didn't want him to leave the country so early,
Yeah,
and they didn't really see a path to the first team, and obviously they didn't want him just taking a big risk moving away at that age. So then they wanted him to play in France. So obviously it worked out though. But yeah,
yeah.
after this signing, he'll be by far, I think, the most. He'll have accumulated the most transfer fees, and he's only made 2 moves. Like he'll be 22 and he'll have had about 360, 370 million euros spent on him at 22.
That's mental.
Crazy. Like
Yeah,
Lukaku was the most at about 340, 350 million euros.
yeah. But he's done the
Um,
rounds. In fairness, he's played for like ten
he's done
clubs.
about
Like,
5 or 6 moves, yeah.
yeah, he's had loads.
So
Like,
yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I think the one, if there was one to shock me even more, like I think Mbappe, I probably did expect a few months ago that he would leave this summer, unless out of nowhere he signed a contract. But Ronaldo to City is just a new level of shock. Like Messi to PSG was one thing, because you, like, if someone said 5 years ago in 2021 Messi's going to go PSG, you wouldn't be stunned. But if someone said Ronaldo was going to go to Man City, you would not believe them. But it, according to a few places, it does look like it's getting very close to being done.
yeah, and there's definitely people quaking in their boots. I done my rounds on the Twitter sphere when the rumors started happening, and some of the stuff was like just comical. Like someone tweeted, United fans are gonna have to admit that Salah is the best right winger in Premier League history when Ronaldo signed for City.
I saw people saying like, oh, like United fans being like, I'm gonna say Messi's best of all time. Like Messi's the GOAT now. If Ronaldo joins, it's like you must not really relate to Ronaldo that much if this is gonna make you change your opinion. But
Yeah,
yeah, do you think that? What do you think from like a United fan, like from Ronaldo? Do you think it's basically like bad what he's doing, or do you think it's just professional football? You play for where it's the best team, and like he wants to leave Juventus. What, like, his best option? What do you think?
I think with like European, like just culture or something like that, like it's just completely different to what happens in like the Premier League. If you put it into like a perspective, like imagine now, I know it's not really the same, but let's say Gerrard plays for Everton, like in the end of his career, he's like, I'm not signing a new contract, not to Everton, or he leaves, goes to Real Madrid, come back, plays for Everton, or Rooney goes to, I don't know, just put into a scenario, he goes to Barcelona, comes back and plays for City or Liverpool, that would never happen. There's obviously been a few players. I think Paul Ince played for United and then went to Liverpool.
Yeah,
There's obviously been a few scenarios. That's just one that like springs to mind. But I think just with like you saw with with Fat Ronaldo, like he just played for like anyone who'd pay him. Same with like Zlatan, like he didn't care
Ibrahimovic,
anyone who
yeah,
pays him. And I think like I don't know why you expect it from Ronaldo, like for him to be any different. This Ronaldo, not
yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo. Like why
Like,
would you expect it? Like I don't expect it.
like at the end of the day, I know, and like I know if I'm saying this now as a Chelsea fan, but if I was a United fan, I would be heartbroken. But at the same time, if you're looking at it from Ronaldo's point of view, he's at Juventus. He's 36 now, going 37 in February. he's not getting any younger. It's not like he can just say, "Oh, I'll stay another season and maybe go to PSG or something next summer." Like every season when you're this age, it's not like he's like 31. Like every season at 36, 37, it is a precious time. Time is precious at this stage. You're gonna go to Man City, earn unbelievable money, play in the best league. You've definitely got the best chance of winning the Champions League besides maybe PSG. Um, you're not winning anything at Juventus. You're not winning a Champions League or a Ballon d'Or at Juventus in the next year. Like next year, you don't know what might happen. I don't know. Like, I highly doubt it. Ronaldo could break his leg in January. Like and
Yeah.
then no, then I don't know. I'm just saying. But at the end of the day, if I was Ronaldo, which I'm definitely not, I'd be thinking to myself, like, how can you hate me? Like, I've won a Ballon d'Or at the club. I've won Premier League Player of the Year multiple times. Won so many Premier Leagues. Won a Champions League single-handedly. Like you could say, definitely like that 2008 season. Like he got 42 goals, Champions League, Premier League. He was unbelievable for 4 or 5 years there. Like I know like it's annoying now, but like he's 36. Like he left United. Like what was it 2009? Like that's 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he shouldn't have loyalty. Obviously, he definitely loves United, and I'm sure if he had the choice, if United were in City's, if United were like as good as City now, I'm sure he'd go to United. But United haven't put anything on the table. I was talking to someone earlier, and I was saying this. It's like Arsenal fans hating Fabregas for going to Chelsea, but Fabregas said afterwards, Arsenal never came in for me that summer.
Same
So
with
like,
Michael
what's he
Owen.
meant to do? Yeah, like what's he meant to do? And Chelsea are a better team then.
Yeah.
And this is Fabregas who joined Arsenal at 16, had great years there and stuff. Like, and this isn't. I don't think it's even to do with loyalty. Like, it's not like he chose City over United. United haven't even put money on the table. They haven't even said anything. So I don't even. I obviously I understand it, but I don't really see a problem with it. And I definitely would not be good with Ronaldo because it's his only chance of winning another Champions League and winning a Ballon d'Or because no one else is either gonna go in for him or has enough money. So I don't blame him.
No, yeah, I think you summed it up fairly well there. And I also think like he's not from Manchester. Like I'm sure he wouldn't play
Yeah,
for like Porto or Benfica. Like
yeah.
it's just different gravy when like you have a player that moves around and stuff.
Like he wouldn't join Barcelona now or something because like he has that
Yeah,
affiliation to Madrid like properly. I
yeah.
don't know. I just think I don't really uh
Obviously, it's not nice if it's like a player that
no.
played for your team. Not like undermining it, but
Yeah,
like as a neutral, especially, I don't really see a problem in it.
I know, but like if you think of it this way, like if Hazard had gone to Madrid and now he came back and played for United or Liverpool, or if for you Luis Suarez in his prime had come back and played for United, like obviously you'd be annoyed, but like you wouldn't care that much. Like at the
Yeah,
end of the day, he's a professional footballer. If United were in a better position, I would look at it if Hazard joined them and say, fair enough, like
yeah,
I can't blame him. So
yeah,
I don't know. Players are going to go where they have the best chance to win stuff, and Ronaldo wants to win a Ballon d'Or again. He's not going to do it at Juventus because they're not going to win a Champions League. So, but yeah, it's still a crazy move, and it's going to be so interesting if it does happen. Hopefully it does. Even though I don't want him like City to get better, I'd love to see Ronaldo in the Premier League for one more year, and to
yeah. Me
see
too.
PSG versus City in Group A of the Champions League, Messi versus Ronaldo,
I
El
know.
Clasico.
Yeah, it would they'd finally be meeting in El Clasico. Um, Kind of a nice little segue onto the Champions League there. So the groups came out today, or well, it'll be tomorrow, but for us it's today. Um, and I'm just gonna read them out here. So there's the El Clasico Group A, which has City, PSG, Leipzig, and Club Brugge. Um, Group B is Atletico, Liverpool, Porto, AC Milan. Group C is rubbish, to be honest. No English clubs in there. I'm not going to read out the ones that have like that aren't like significant really. Like so, Group D is like Inter, Real Madrid, Shakhtar, and Sheriff Street FC made their way in. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Sheriff, fair play to them. That'll be a tough away day. I'll tell you that now for a fact.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Fans don't know what hit him.
yeah, it'll be like a 50 cal. And then Group E is Bayern, Barca, Benfica, and I think that's Dynamo. Um, Group F is the repeat of the Europa League final, so it's Villarreal, Manchester United, Atlanta, and Young Boys. And then Group G is Lille. That's kind of rubbish as well. Not gonna lie. Not gonna bother reading that one now. And then Group H is Chelsea, Juve, Zenit, and Malmo. I obviously didn't bother reading out the ones that I didn't think were relevant, but
Yeah.
because we're not going to want to talk about them. But yeah. So what do you think? We'll start off with the last group there, because obviously you're a Chelsea fan. Group H, so they have Juve, Zenit, and Malmo. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's like that pot two was full of quality teams. Like you could have faced PSG or like
Dortmund,
Dortmund.
Real,
There was some
Barca.
great teams in there. I'd probably pick Juventus out of any of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like they're probably gonna lose Ronaldo. And even if they don't, I still wouldn't be too worried. Like I know he's unreal, but like it's a fairly poor team. It's been bad for 2 or 3 years now. They haven't really challenged in the Champions League at all. I assume they'll sign someone else if Ronaldo leaves, but yeah, I'm not too worried about it, to be honest. Like I
Yeah.
think Chelsea and Juventus should comfortably get out of that group. Chelsea should top it as well. They're definitely better than Juventus, but yeah, it's not too bad
It's a
overall.
nice
What did you
group.
think of? Yeah, it probably is. Like if I had to pick it, it's not too far off what I've wanted. So
And like
as
obviously,
well,
sorry, just 1 second.
yeah,
Obviously, the Russian away day is going to be a tough one. Like it
yeah,
always is. Like teams always go to Russia and get like
yeah.
a draw or a loss. But I feel like
So
the Malmo
we'll
away
have a
day
practice game in St. Petersburg before we get to the final there.
Malmo will be one of those. I feel like every year that Liverpool have been in the Champions League, they've had like one result that you're like, all right, that's 6 points.
Yeah.
I feel like Malmo's kind of that one. But I guess you were going to ask me about Liverpool, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like I think a lot of people have been making out that it's so tough. Like it's on paper, it is. Like it looks
Yeah,
hard. AC Milan, let's go. Porto, but like they're not great teams. Like you saw how poor Porto or Atletico were last year,
yeah.
and AC Milan have been in the Champions League in years. So what do you think overall? Pretty happy.
The way I think about it all the time, I do think it's a tough group. Don't get me wrong. I think like as I said, there's no like banker match. There's no 6 points guaranteed in that. But at the same time, if you want to win this competition, you have to face good teams eventually. So you may as well get them in the group or get them early on. Like you're just gonna have to play them when it gets to the end of it, anyways.
Yeah.
So that for me, that's relevant. I saw a tweet today from Redman TV saying death, taxes, and Porto versus Liverpool in the Champions League.
Every year.
But yeah, no, I'm not. It could be like a complete banana skin, but I'm not too worried. So we'll talk about Group A, the El Clasico group. City, PSG, Leipzig, and Bruges. Just to remind you. What do you think about that one?
I'm just happy to see City not in a group and like the second best team is like Shakhtar Donetsk or something. Like they just get easy groups every time. It feels like this is the first time. Like you probably have the two favorites there in Group One, Group A. I mean,
Yeah,
and Leipzig aren't bad either. Obviously, they beat United last year, knocked them out of the Champions League. Got through that group against PSG. I'm sure like they'll just be going into the Europa League though. Leipzig. Don't know who top. Who do you reckon will top it? I don't know. I'd
it's tough
probably
to
say
call.
PSG, but it's hard to say. Yeah, you don't know who City are
Yeah,
going to sign if they get
Ronaldo
Ronaldo. Then
could change
yeah,
that completely, like change the complex completely. But yeah, I'd still probably even with Ronaldo, I'd still probably say PSG. They
yeah,
seem
I'd
to be
say
just
PSG
like
is
so. They just look like. To be honest with you, I don't think any of them have like. I don't think their actual team have played together yet. Like their how like Messi hasn't made his
yeah.
debut or anything like
Messi
that.
isn't making his debut until this weekend.
Yeah, so it could as a dynamic might not work. But oh, sorry, but I'll be shocked if it doesn't.
Yeah,
Um, and then United's group, so they have Villarreal, Atalanta, and Young Boys.
yeah, that's really handy group again. Like United now Villarreal, obviously they're probably going to hammer them. To be honest, that's such an easy group. Like that is probably
I
the
don't
dream
know.
group. To be honest.
Yeah, no, it definitely is the dream group. Like, Atalanta, like they beat Liverpool last year. Don't get me wrong in the group stage, but they also lost 5-0. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
they're just one of those mad attacking teams who are like just all out attack. They're really exciting and stuff, but
yeah.
it'll like get through that group so
They
easy.
also lost Papa Gomez. Yeah,
Yeah, to
yeah,
Sevilla.
to Sevilla.
Yeah,
So
Papu
he was
Gomez.
kind
Yeah,
of yeah,
I think United need to be making a bit of a challenge in the Champions League this year. They've kind of been embarrassing for the last 10
yeah,
years in the Champions League. Really, like since they got to that final in 2011, against Barcelona. Like they've just been shocking in the Champions League. Well, since Fergie left, really, not saying then, but since Fergie left, they've been shocking in the Champions League. They haven't made it to a semi even. Like I think they made it quarterfinals
They
2 years
got
ago, but like
demolished by Barca.
got demolished by Barcelona. Yeah, like that wasn't even a great Barca team, but yeah, I think United need just it would boost the morale of the club to like get to like a semi or something. United remind me a bit of England or something. They like in the Champions League, they never really do as good as you expect them. Like you look at them on paper and you think, oh, and the thing is, United never even get beaten by like PSG or something. It's always like an absolutely useless team that knocks them out. Like, but anyway, I don't want to get too bogged down in that.
Yeah. No, I agree. So I guess we'll talk about Sheriff's Group. That has Inter, Real, and Shakhtar in it. I've honestly, all jokes aside, never heard of the Sheriff team. Can't tell you where they come from, other than you know Sheriff Street. But
Middle of town.
yeah, um, I've never heard them. I can imagine that they will get absolutely no points. Um, but other than that, like I know like we joked there a second ago saying like that, City always get Shakhtar in the group. But like Shakhtar just seem like a tough team to beat all the time. Like I just feel like it's just always nil-alls in Shakhtar. Like no one ever scores
Yeah,
in Shakhtar. It's just constant
they've
nil-alls.
always just got like some absolutely unreal Brazilian winger who's got 5-star skills in FIFA that no one's ever heard of. He never
And
ends up getting a good move anywhere, but
like
he's
there's a
still the
100% chance that the whole team dopes. Like there's a 100% chance that everyone on the team I'll just call them out here, Shakhtar, Dynamo, and Zenit. Like every single player on their on their list is just like definitely putting steroids into them. Like there's no doubt about it.
they're
100%.
Shakhtar do put a good fight up a lot of the time as well. Like if you watch them
Yeah.
against City the last few years, they've actually been good.
Mm.
But yeah, Sheriff, who are sixth in the Moldovan division right now.
And actually,
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they stand a decent chance of getting out of this group. If Madrid and Inter decide to pull out or something, but I think they should be all right.
I can
Madrid, if
just,
they get Mbappe, should top the group, but I don't know. Inter seem useless now, to be honest.
yeah,
They've lost their manager and their two best players, basically. So
I just can't imagine that Sheriff team playing in anything other than Sheriff Street Park. Like I just can't in the head. Like Mbappe
uh,
running down the wing and just hitting the
just
pothole. Like,
a few lads, yeah, a few lads from Sheriff Street running around the Bernabeu.
and anyways, on to Group E, which is Bayern, Barca, Benfica, and Dynamo. I'd be proper shocked if Bayern and Barca don't just get out of this group. But as I said, like the whole Dynamo team dopes. Like there's 1,000% chance. Like they're just not governed
A
over
lot of
there.
these groups just seem to be like two big teams and then just two teams you've never heard
That's the
of.
way it always goes usually, though.
Yeah, true. But like, there's always the odd shock here and there. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know who it's going to be, to be honest. I'd say I could see if there's one shock, I'd probably say like Inter going out. But then again, Inter went out like they've never got to the last 16 the last few years, even when they've actually built a good team.
Imagine Sheriff Street playing in the round 16 of.
They're
Um,
coming ninth and they're fine relegation in the Moldovan fourth tier, but they're somehow playing against Bayern Munich in the last 16.
so I'll call out the two groups I didn't bother calling out as well. So there's Sporting, Dortmund, Ajax, and Besiktas, and Lille, Sevilla, Salzburg, and Wolfsburg. Obviously, they're not the groups of death, but who do you think is the group of death? What group do you reckon?
It has to be Group A, really. Like you've got the two best teams, the two favorites, and then you've got a very good team as well in Leipzig. I think the rest of the groups are fairly like. Obviously, I'm not saying every single one's going to be the favorites going through, but there'll definitely be one or two shocks in there. I don't know who, but like the rest of them, like Chelsea, Juve, Barca, Bayern, Inter, Real Madrid, they just seem like such like obvious teams to go through. But there's always the odd shock, obviously, as I said there. Those two last groups there you named out with Dortmund and the other one with Lille, they do seem fairly evenly matched. Like out of all the groups, they seem like there's four teams that aren't too far apart. But yeah, I don't know. I'd still say overall my favourite still be PSG or City. Like it has to be. But I'd say Chelsea I'd put third
Yeah,
favourite.
the two groups I called out there at the end, like they are quite evenly matched, but at the same time, like if any of those teams won the Champions League this year, I'll say it right now, I will stop watching football for the rest of my life. Like, there's absolutely no chance.
I'm gonna start following modern pentathlon if one of those teams win the Champions
Yeah,
League.
definitely. But yeah. What other news was there? I feel like I'm missing some from today's news.
No, I feel like that's kind of it, to be honest.
That's everything.
The transfer, it was mainly just Ronaldo and Mbappe that we're looking to cover, but
Yeah.
yeah,
While
Mbappe
I'm on
looks
my
like
phone,
to
I'll
be.
see if there's any more Spurs or
Yeah.
Romanos. While it's going, like, I doubt there will be.
CR7 decided to leave Juventus. Oh my god. So basically, Juventus are waiting for Man City official bid to arrive in the next hours and reach an agreement as soon as possible. I'm glad you said this because we would have missed this, but
Yeah.
Man
We
City
should
are
do
also
this more
working on the
often, where we just
outgoings.
whip our phones out. Like, they're always in our hand. Like,
Raheem Sterling could leave Man City if the right bid arrives. Gabriel Jesus is wanted at the club of Pep Guardiola and will not leave.
yeah. In
So
fairness, I'd
Cristiano
say,
Ronaldo has decided to leave and he will not be playing in the next match for Juventus. He's already said he won't play. Not like publicly, but he said like obviously privately.
yeah, this is
So
Fabrizio
yeah,
Romano as
can't
well.
blame him.
So it has to happen.
Yeah, yeah, it is true. Yeah, yeah. So
It
yeah,
not
so
happening, it's
Jorge
not an
Mendes is
option.
already working with Man City. So I'd say this. I'd say by the end of this, at the end of the weekend, this will be done.
Yeah, me
This will
too.
be done.
Me too. This would be like astronomical. Like,
Oh,
it's as big
it's a
as
done deal in my
it's
opinion.
it's as big as Messi going PSG.
Oh, 100%. It's probably bigger. No, it's not bigger.
No.
But it feels bigger because it's something that was more unexpected for me. Because
Yeah.
Messi's contract was expiring and stuff. I didn't expect Ronaldo to leave Juve, and I didn't expect that there anywhere to be open. Like
Yeah.
for him to go back to Real Madrid, I could have been like, oh well, you could kind of see it, but to
Mm.
go to Man City is just a shock. And there's no one else even in from. Like PSG said, 100% they're not going in from. Real Madrid aren't 100% not because they're getting Mbappe. Obviously, like Barcelona and United aren't and stuff. Like it's another club, so it's literally going to be Man City signing. That's crazy. The fact that Kane's not leaving now as well. So yeah, done.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Matt Target go straight through him in the middle of the league. Like,
Yeah, exactly. That's so true. Just some Burnley defender,
yeah,
like
Ben
just
Me just going
Ben
up and
Me.
elbow to the
Yeah,
jaw. Like,
yeah. Sean Dyche just booting him on the sideline. But anyway,
it would be good to see. It would make the Premier League obviously more exciting with a massive player like that joining in.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think
Quickly, just right now, how many goals are you getting? I'm gonna say 27.
hardly 27. I'm gonna say, you ready for this? I'm gonna say he's
Yeah.
not hitting 20.
What?
Yeah, I think he's gonna get
All
injured.
right.
I think he's gonna get injured, and he won't hit 20.
I think he's gonna get maybe not 20. Then again, he takes all the penalties, and City are so bad at penalties. That's the one thing that about their team. They never score penalties. I
It's gonna
think
be
he's gonna hit.
Penaldo.
I think he's gonna be like he's gonna make Bruno Fernandes quiver in his boots. He's gonna take the like the Penaldo is gonna
Yeah, it's gonna
rather
go
than
up. Yeah. I think
Fernandes.
he's actually gonna
But anyway.
take Bruno's penos. If United gets a peno, he's just gonna hop down to the
They're
other
gonna
end of the
yeah.
pitch.
No,
Imagine
no.
if he went to United. Fernandez have
Uh,
like 4 goals a year. Like,
they probably have to both kick it simultaneously and just go
someone
down
has
to
to
point
just
five a goal
forfeit their
for
left
each
foot.
of them. Yeah. But yeah, I think we should leave it there.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway,
Cheers for listening. Obviously, follow all the socials, do all that stuff, and I think we're fairly agreed on that it's going to be a weekly thing by the end of
yeah,
the week, whether it be Friday or whatever. Follow the Instagram if you want to update on when that will be, like, because we'll just do it that it's a single time every week. But anyways, cheers for listening. Bye.
well, thank you.